Hi, everyone. I'm Elaine Petrucci, and today we will be talking about the lack of resources masterclass. So I hope that you're all having a great day and that you learn as much as you can from this presentation this afternoon. As a caregiver, I often wondered where I could find resources that were easily accessible to me when I was caring for both my parents. And I hope this will give you some ways to begin to find those resources that you need when you're caregiving. So let's start. Today, we'll be discussing caregiver resources to help you help your loved ones. Let's look at the importance of support for caregivers. Many caregivers work and provide care, often experiencing conflicts between these competing responsibilities. Research indicates that caregiving exacts a significant emotional, physical, and financial toll for caregivers. With nearly half of all caregivers older than age 50, many are vulnerable to a decline in their own health. Studies show that coordinated support services can reduce caregiver depression, anxiety, and stress, and enable them to provide care longer, which avoids or delays the need for costly institutional care. One statistic that came to my attention was that roughly 35% of caregivers report that their health is fair to poor, and 40 to 70% of them had significant symptoms of depression. And another 30% of caregivers die before the one that they're caring for. So caregiving can be so detrimental to caregivers unless they find the resources and the support that they need while they're caregiving. Caregivers are often family members with little or no medical experience. The lack of resources can make caregiving scary, particularly when navigating complex situations and making important decisions that will affect the health and wellness of an aging loved one. Many caregivers experience added stress when making important medical decisions because they do not have access to reliable support and resources. So what can we do about the lack of access to resources? Something has to give, and your rope has to snap at some point. Family caregivers often lack access to resources that can help minimize disruptions at work, thereby reducing the risk of caregiver burden. Unfortunately, few employers offer protections or benefits for working caregivers. According to a 2021 report from Blue Cross Blue Shield, the direct economic effect resulting from caregiving is estimated at nearly $44 billion through the loss of 656,000 jobs. An additional 791,000 caregivers suffer from work absenteeism issues. So ultimately, the financial consequences of caregiving can restrict caregivers' ability to live in safe communities, access nutritious food, seek treatment for their health, and more. Even for those who don't experience an immediate financial impact, loss of income could prevent caregivers from saving as much for retirement and their future care needs. Now let's explore how the healthcare system can ease caregiver burden. The healthcare industry owes it to family caregivers to find ways to protect and support them. Health systems can start by providing caregivers with guidance and resources. Physicians must take time to understand their patients and their responsibilities fully. AARP and NAC found that only 29% of caregivers, clinicians asked about their needs, while 13% were asked what the caregiver needed to care for themselves. Clinicians must also access the needs of informal family caregivers by treating caregiving activities like other social determinants of health. Caregivers need routine assessments to make it easier to gauge the impact of the caregiver's role on their health and monitor their burden over time. Health systems must integrate caregivers into the care recipient's care plan. That is so vitally important. Intentionally or not, health systems often exclude family caregivers from discussions about their loved one's care. Utilizing video calls, telehealth, and other communication tools can help keep family caregivers in more discussions about their loved one's care. With a better understanding of the needs, health systems can provide more relevant support. Improved access to health information, such as the use of user-friendly online portals, would facilitate communication between patients, clinicians, and caregivers while maintaining patient privacy and complying with HIPAA regulations. An online platform could feature guidance on transportation reimbursement, where to find support groups, training programs, and respite care. This would go a long way to empower caregivers with a better understanding of care plans and the knowledge to communicate effectively with physicians. Now, let's turn our attention to how health insurance providers can help caregivers. Payment rules may discourage providers from communicating with caregivers and leave room for misinterpretations of privacy regulations affecting communication between caregivers, older adults, and clinicians. Medicaid and Medicare plans can support family caregivers and reduce caregiver burden by outsourcing assistance to third-party partners with in-depth caregiver expertise, such as Meet Caregivers. Insurers already utilize a multi-channel approach to reach seniors and help them find the right health plan. Through third-party partnerships, caregivers act as the health plan's eyes and ears in the members' homes, collecting information and passing it on to insurers. With this data, health plans can identify which health care services seniors most want and design plans to meet the demand. This would allow health plans to scale operations on a national level quickly. It would also allow them to merge high-touch services with technology tools to deliver long-term care and minimize the caregiver burden. So let's now look at assessing the needs, values, and preferences of the person receiving care. Defining your family's particular needs is the first step in determining what kind of help and support will best suit your circumstances. You will need to first outline your specific concerns. It's also useful to think about the values and preferences of your loved one regarding the types of help he or she will accept. It might be helpful to hold a family meeting to discuss care needs and help with decision-making. Try asking yourself the following questions and writing down the answers. What type of help does my loved one need now to live independently as possible? You want to look at nutrition services, dressing, bathing, lifting, medication management, supervision, companionship, housekeeping, and transportation. What types of help might be needed in the future? Who will take charge of caregiving or make arrangements for care? And how much money is available to pay for outside resources? Will insurance cover any services? And what days and times do I need help? And what kind of assistance can I provide myself? Do I have a job that will affect the amount of care that I can provide? What types of help are my friends and family members willing to provide? Can we get used to having a stranger in our home to help us? Can we adjust to someone who speaks a different language? Would a male or female helper be preferred? And do we want out-of-home care? What kind, how often, and for how long? Let's look at some of the community care options available for caregivers. We can look at informal care, information and referral services, care management services, legal and financial counseling, transportation services, nutrition programs, respite care, adult daycare, home care, hospice care, caregiver support groups, and employee assistance programs. When you're looking at programs and care services, you want to be aware that it can be a time-consuming experience to locate and arrange appropriate services. You may need to make a series of phone calls or go through a maze of referrals before you find the right program or person to help you. If you have a care manager or other healthcare provider who help assess your needs, ask them for assistance in finding resources, programs, and services. Begin looking for resources before your situation becomes overwhelming. You would like to have all of these ideas down and located in a specific place, like in a caregiver notebook, so that you have all of that information available to you. So should you need that information in the future, you will have easy access to it, which will reduce your stress and overwhelm. You want to write down all the information. Be sure to document the date and name of each agency you called, the phone number or website, who you spoke with, which services you requested, and any agreed upon decisions. When you make your call, be prepared with specific information, such as your loved one's physician's name, diagnostic information, insurance coverage, whether it be Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security numbers. Also, be prepared to answer questions such as what type of care is the patient currently receiving and who is providing it? And is there any special equipment in the home to assist with patient care? As a caregiver, you want to be assertive and specific about your needs. Morning calls are usually the best time to call. And don't hang up until you understand the follow-up procedures and next steps. Be aware that you may be placed on a waiting list. If a fee is charged for the service, be sure to ask for a rate sheet that documents the service provided for each fee. Be really cautious of free online referral services, which may only promote those facilities that pay for a listing or a placement fee. Never, ever hesitate to ask for help. Keep in mind that not everyone is familiar with the needs of caregivers. Many professionals remain uninformed about the stresses on you and your loved one. And finally, never, ever give up in your pursuit to find the right services, not only for you, but the person that you're caring for. So how would things be different if you were to break those chains of the lack of caregiver resources so that you could experience less stress, be more present with your family and your loved one, stay more centered so you can deal with any unexpected emergency that might arise in your caregiving role? And how would you feel if you were more confident and could create a caregiving experience with more ease and joy? I want you to break the chains now and do more, be more, and live more. I would like and encourage you to learn to manage your mind through self-hypnosis that will allow you to influence your outcome in any circumstance when you're caregiving. The next self-hypnosis masterclass is on May 5th from 8 to 4 Mountain Standard Time. So I encourage you to book a free discovery call with me using my Calendly link below so that we can talk about the resources that you need and how I can best support you in your caregiving journey. Again, the self-hypnosis class is on May 5th, 2023 from 8 to 4 Mountain Standard Time. And you can go to that Calendly link to book a discovery call with me so I can learn more about you and the needs that you have. I would like to encourage you to connect with me in any way possible, either through the Caregiver Lifeline Academy, booking a discovery call with me at calendly.com/MaryElaine/30 minutes. Or please email me at mpetrucci2002@gmail.com. I'm here to help and serve you in any way I can. I have been where you are right now in terms of your caregiving. I had to manage the 24/7 care for both my parents. And I had to go to court 2 days before Christmas with my mother, my attorney, and Dad's attorney to start the guardianship process. because my father was in denial that my mother had Alzheimer's. So I understand the stress, the overwhelm, and burnout that you are experiencing while caregiving. And I would love to understand more about your specific situation so that I can provide you with the resources and the support that you need. I want to thank you for attending the Lack of Resources Masterclass with me today, and I look forward to serving you.